Okay, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. I know none of you are here by choice, but it means a lot to me that you're all here to share with me this final leg of my educational journey for now. So anyway, I've entitled my presentation, My Journey to the Other Side of the Desk. So this is a presentation about some of the changes that I've undergone and the journey that I've gone on to go from being a student to a student teacher and now to a regular teacher. Although I agree with what was said earlier that teachers should always continue to be students as well. All right, let me start out by telling you a little bit about my background. Education has kind of always been in my blood. My dad taught high school earth science for 40 years. So as long as I can remember, I've been hanging around the school, watching my dad do his thing, and he liked to bring me into school and exploit me as the cute little kid and show me to his classes and things. So some of my earliest memories were in school. And my grandfather, my dad's father, was a superintendent of a school district and also an English teacher. And my grandfather on my mother's side was a pastor, which I think has a lot of similarities to teaching as well. Now, even though education was always in my blood, I didn't necessarily think that I ever wanted to get into education. I definitely didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to be a teacher. I came to Virginia Tech beginning in fall of 2004. My older brother had gone here as well, and I had fallen in love with the school. And I actually was majoring in political science. I thought that I wanted to be a politician or a lobbyist or something, some kind of high-powered power broker. And politics became a great love of mine. I did a bunch of internships while I was here at Tech in political science. I worked for a semester at a lobbying firm up in Pennsylvania, and then the following summer after that I worked for a state senator in Pennsylvania. And I had a lot of fun with those internships, but I ended up coming away from those experiences, and this was heading into my senior year, thinking that while I enjoyed politics, the atmosphere of it was not something that was right for me. The same goals that I wanted to achieve, kind of changing society and helping people to learn about their country and different things, I decided I could better serve those by becoming a teacher. So that's what I decided to do. And in the fall of 2007, I came back to Tech and decided that I was going to apply for this program and try to become a social studies teacher. So that was a major shift in things that I was involved in my life. Now, the first year of the program, I took the 2-year approach, just because I'm a kind of a laid-back guy. That's how I roll. So I like to take my time doing things. The first year of the program, last year, I found that I had more questions than answers. I was taking a lot of these classes that we've all taken, these educational theory type classes, and didn't really know what to think of things. I wasn't sure whether I liked this whole education thing or not. Some of it seemed kind of mumbo-jumbo to me, and I wasn't sure what to think. And then at the beginning of this year, I received my first field placement, which was at Northside Middle School, right outside of Roanoke, Roco School. And I enjoyed my field experience. I had a great cooperating teacher that I worked with, but I didn't really feel like many of my questions were answered at the field experience. I basically served as a copying specialist and sat in the back of the room and observed most of the time. Didn't get to do much teaching except for one class the entire semester. So I didn't really come away having any really good idea of whether teaching was still the right profession for me. So I came into this semester with my student teaching placement, which was at William Byrd High School, again in Roanoke County, long way away. My cooperating teacher was a very interesting guy. He's a big Lebanese guy, very blunt. And for a lot of these reasons, early in the semester, I wasn't really sure what to think. See Matt smiling because he knows this guy as well. Early in the semester, my negativity towards teaching continued to increase. Okay, I thought for a little while at the beginning of the semester, I've made a massive mistake, and wasted approximately $50,000 student loan money, and really not cut out to be a teacher. My cooperating teacher pushed me really hard. He's a guy, as I said, who's really blunt. He has really high expectations from all of his student teachers, and so I wasn't getting a lot of warm and fuzzy feedback from him, which made it difficult at the beginning, but ultimately I think it was a positive for me. Early on, I was spending a lot of late nights doing lesson planning and trying to come up with these amazing lessons that I could do for the next day, but I didn't really have a lot to show for it. My lesson plans stunk. I just would get into class and try to implement these things that I had done, and then I would run out of stuff to do, and it just kind of fell flat most times. And as I said, I had trouble finding enough to do. There was one class period in particular due to SOL testing the day that the block scheduling, which is what we were on, which is already a long period. It was extended almost twice its normal length, so it was like a 2 or 3 hour class period one day. And I just flat out ran out of things to do, and it was one of the definite low points of my student teaching. At that point, my cooperating teacher kind of saw that I was getting discouraged, and he told me to stop worrying about being cute with my lesson plans. He said I could continue to be cute, you know, in other ways if I wanted, but with my lesson plans, he's basically just like, get to what you need to cover, don't worry about doing fancy stuff, and you know, just get through the material. So that's what I went. That's what I started doing at that point, and that actually led to a problem with me. I went too far in the opposite direction, and I just got to a point where I was just making PowerPoints and doing notes for the entire period, and I could see the kids visibly just kind of getting long faces and going, "Oh man." All right, so let me show you some of the changes that I made in my lesson planning strategy. So this is a lesson plan that I made about a year ago in Reading, Content, and Comprehension, Mary Parrish's class. And this is an actual lesson plan that I used for a lesson that I taught in that class. And as you can see, it bears no resemblance to any sort of lesson plan format that we've ever seen. It's basically just like a narrative of I've written everything out that I wanted to do for the entire period. So this just basically shows that I had no idea what I was doing with lesson planning before I had any formal instruction on it. There's nothing involving SOLs on here, or guiding questions, or objectives, or anything. It's just a narrative showing what I'm going to do through that period. All right. Now here is a lesson plan from the early part of my student teaching semester, this past semester. And there's a couple of things that I want to show you on here. This, I think, is not a very good lesson plan. It's moving in the right direction, but as you can see, I have very few key concepts. Another thing, my objectives are very sort of non-specific. I don't have any quantifiable information or anything in there. It's just I've sort of taken the SOL thing and pasted it onto the lesson plan. Also, I've left big portions of the lesson plan template blank, just because I didn't get around to it. Again, I leave major portions of materials and modifications blank. I would spend so much time focusing on the routine of the lesson that I would neglect the other essential parts of the lesson. All right, now here's a lesson that I planned about the Italian Renaissance a few weeks later after that previous lesson plan that I've shown. And I think I've done a better job of, first of all, varying my activities, varying my assessment strategies. I think I've also done a better job with my objectives. They're still not totally where I wanted them to be, but I have actually quantifiable objectives. That's one thing that my cooperating teacher really harped on, was that you need to have specific numbers of things that you want the kids to be able to accomplish for each objective. And then I think I have some good activities in here, like a Just Do It, gave a reading quiz right at the beginning of the period. And then I have, lots of just different varied activities, and I have the entire template filled out, so I think that's positive. Now, this is what I finally got to towards the end of the semester. And this is probably not going to be acceptable to a lot of people.